So today we will start with natural language processing. So NLP is a very important part of the machine learning or data sciences, or you can say AI. So natural language processing is a very difficult part of machine learning as compared to other problem statements. Like we were doing a lot of other problems. We were doing the computer vision problems, but natural language processing is a we can the kind of field that is very difficult in terms of machine learning. So the kind of algorithms and the kind of all the concepts available to us, they are keep on improving day by day by the scientists and the universities or by the top NLP companies, but still they are in the kinds of evolutionary stage, and still we are looking for a lot of answers in NLP because it is a difficult task. So sorry. So text mining and NLP. So text mining refers to the process of deriving high quality information from the text. Because let's say we are two people, so the language actually is the purpose of the language, so that if I want to convey something to the other people, he would be able to understand what I want to convey. So understanding the meaning of the words, understanding the meaning of the context, understanding the meaning of the language, words, sentences, it is very important. So text mining is to getting the understanding of the data in terms of NLP. So the natural language processing, the ultimate goal of the natural language processing is to understand the languages in terms of the text and the speech. Let's say if I am talking to you, then it is an audio format. So if I am working on the NLP, so first I need to convert my audio into the text format. Then I will try to understand the meaning, contextual meaning, or whatever the hidden meaning of sentencing and everything. What do you want to convey? I will try to understand that meaning from the text. So So NLP is to run text data for the data analysis via the natural language processing. So natural language processing is a field of the data science or the machine learning, which try to understand the meaning from a language, whether it is a sentence, it is by the audio or by the text. So deals with the human languages. Now the first important aspect from the natural language is that because we don't have a single language, because let's say we are working with a computer vision, so only a single algorithm can work for each and every human, because more or less all of the humans on the planet understand or recognize or identify the image in a single way, so we can have the single algorithm. But in case of natural language processing, it is a kind of the phenomenon that is very exclusive to the humans. It is not common to all the species on the planet. This is kind of the thing that is evolved only on the humans, and that's why human is so much progressed, okay, so much far away in kind of evolution process than the other animals on the planet. So we have more than 5,000 languages within India. Okay, then we have other languages, Chinese languages, French languages, and they have all syntaxes, they have all their own words, they have own grammar, they have all, everything is quite different. Let's say I'm working on the English, so let's say I'm using 10 words to say, to convey some meaning to another person. Then but in China I can use only 2 or 3 words. Okay, so in China they don't have the alphabet, they have the complete alphabet that is signifying to all single 2 or 3 words. So we have different kind of languages and the different kind of attributes and the grammar and everything, so we cannot have a single algorithm for all the different languages on the planet. So that's why NLP becomes a difficult task in itself. So NLP is a part of computer science or machine learning algorithm, so we will have the significant improvement in the over the years, in the last 5 or 10 years, and now we are progressing very rapidly in NLP, because computer vision is the kind of field that is more or less that is very improved, but NLP is still in the advanced language improvement page. So a lot of new algorithms, a lot of new researchers are actually now focusing on NLP. So application of NLP as of now is sentiment analysis. Let's say you are giving a feedback of any restaurant, or let's say you are giving any feedback for any product on the Amazon, so that they can just go through your text and the feedback, and they just convert into the rating or the sentiment, whether this is a positive feedback or negative feedback. Let's say this is a kind of, if it is a positive feedback, it's a good or very good or excellent. If it is bad, then how bad it is. So this is kind of sentiment analysis. They are finding out the meaning from your text. Second is your chatbot. So chatbot is a kind of very kind of very important phenomena in the NLP, and it is going to replace a lot of manual work in the IT industry. Let's say, because we have the call centers, we have a lot of people sitting in the offices, and they are going to answer your queries, whether it is a finance, banking systems, or let's say any of the industries. So chatbot is kind of the robot is going to take your query, and they will try to understand what do you want to have, how you want to have your query answered, what you want, the information you want to like. So that is that has to be done by the chatbot in the next 5 or 10 years. As of now, the chatbots are there, but still they are in the very premature stage. So but in next 5 or 10 years, so it would be a case that they will be replacing all the call centers people all over the world. Speech recognition, it is actually, it is still happening. You have the Alexa, you have the Google Assistant, so this recognize your speech, okay, and they will convert your audio to the text format, then will try to understand the meaning from the text format, then they will answer your question, then again from text to audio conversion is happening, and you are getting the your response back to in the audio. So speech recognition is already happening. Okay, you also have in WhatsApp, you just say something and it's keep on writing the text. Previously it was not there. So speech recognition, a lot of things are happening, okay, because speech recognition is very important aspect of chatbot is itself. Because let's say if you have the audio chatbot, then you have to first to identify the speech, then you have to convert into text, then text to audio, then audio text. So all the things are happening in a loop. Machine translation is again a very important part of the NLP. So if you remember, I think 5 or 6 years back, there was a Google Translate, and it was not so good. It was giving a very bad translation, because it was using NLP, very premature algorithms were there, so that was not so robust. So in that case, so even the translation was not so good. But in last 5 or 6 years, there is a lot of improvement, and a lot of different algorithm or robust algorithm has come up. Now you can see they are giving a very much improved translation for any language, from Hindi to English, English to French, or any other languages. So machine translation is a very important aspect, and all the algorithms are coming from the NLP. And you can find a different companies for the specifically devoted to chatbot, specifically devoted for the machine translation, for the speech recognitions and all the sentiments and all the other things. They are the simple, again, spell checking in the Gmail or any other the tools you are having. The spell checking are again happening behind the scenes using the NLP algorithms. Information extractions. Let's say you want to extract any information from the website. Let's say what is the useful information. Let's say I want to search anything from the Wikipedia that is of my use actually, because let's say I want to ask any questions, but Wikipedia is having a lot of information. So the query or the information related to my question, I need to extract from the Wikipedia or the different web pages across the Google or across the internet. So that information extraction is also happening through NLP. They will understand your question, then the behind the scene NLP algorithm will work in tandem with the browser and the Google search engine, then you will get the right information for you. Keyword search, advertisement matching. So these are all NLP algorithms or NLP applications. Sorry. So we have two important components for the NLP. First is natural language understanding, and second is natural language generation. So natural language understanding means that you are just to try to understand the meaning of the language. Let's say in case of sentiment analysis, because I have written any feedback and I will try to understand what is the meaning actually of this particular sentence and the feedback. Okay, so that is a natural language understanding. And what is the second is natural language generation. Let's say for example, I am just doing a language translation. In that case, actually, I'm doing both the things. First, I am trying to understand the sentence in the French language, and then I am converting that particular meaning that was conveyed from the French language to the German language. So now I am actually writing a new sentence in German language. So in that case, I'm just doing both the things. First, I'm natural language understanding, and I'm doing the natural language generation. So these are two important aspects of the NLP. So you may see in the application which are using actually maybe the both the components of the NLP, or let's say they are just doing with the only the single component. So, but these are the two components which are actually the primary components of NLP, and you are dealing with only these two components in NLP. So NLP is a very difficult task. So we have understood there are a lot of different languages on the planets. They are using a different vocabulary. They had different kind of context of using the or conveying the meaning of the words or the meaning of the your. So they have a lot of kind of difficulty in the NLP to understand the language, natural languages. The first example is ambiguity. Let's say there are a lot of lexical ambiguity, syntactic ambiguity, and the referential ambiguity. So let's say this is your lexical ambiguity. She is looking for a match, and the fisherman went to the not this one actually. Let's say she is looking for a match. Okay, let's say second sentence is coming. Uh, she went to watch a match. Okay, now both the words are actually match. This is a match and this is a match. But here actually, if you can say that he is looking for a match, let's say he's looking for a bridegroom for a marriage. Okay, and let's say here he's looking for a cricket match. She's going to watch a cricket match. Now here the sentences you can say what are actually same, match and match, but actually their meaning, their contextual meaning is different. So this is your lexical ambiguity in the language. We are using the same word, but contextually their meaning is different. Then again we have the second one, that is syntactic ambiguity. The chicken is ready to eat. Okay, visiting, there's something called visiting relative can be boring. I saw the man with binocular. Okay, the visiting relatives can be boring, and I saw the man with the binoculars. Examples given is not correct here. And now take the first sentence. The chicken is ready to eat. And now I have the syntactic ambiguity. Well, whether the chicken is ready to eat, but I can go ahead and eat the chicken, or the second meaning may be the chicken is ready to eat. Any chicken is kind of hungry and he want to eat. It want to eat. So there is a ambiguity in the sentence itself. Okay. So, but it is very important. Let's say ki if I am in the conversation with the other people, okay, so maybe the contextual information is very important. Ki in what context actually I am making this particular sentence. So in that case, I can find out whether the context is the chicken want to eat or I want to eat the chicken. So in the second one, the visiting relatives can be boring. And the same one, I saw the man with the binoculars. So I saw the man with the binocular, or I saw the man who is having the binocular. So this is kind of syntactic ambiguity. The words are same, okay, but at the same time, their meaning could be different for the different context. In the same way, we have the referential ambiguity. He actually, to whom I am referring. The boy told his father the theft. He was very upset. Now whether I am referencing to his father or I am referencing to the boy. So this is referential ambiguity. So because natural language processing or your natural language is generated, this is kind of it is a evolving phenomena, and it evolved in last 2000, or let's say not more than 5 or 6,000 years back, and it is a phenomenon that is unique to the humans. So, and at the same time, it evolved in the different patches of the world. Let's say Hindi or English. Hindi evolved in India, let's say, and let's say in South India, Kannada language evolved in a particular place, then English language evolved in a particular place. So they have because they have different environment, they have different cultures. So each and every language evolve in its different shape, in different context. So so in that case, there are a lot of ambiguity in the languages, okay, because it is not a kind of thing that evolved with the grammar itself. Grammar comes later stage, and first we have the language, then to understand the language we had the grammar. So it is not that anything that started with some rules. It is not kind of rules were made to understand the language. Let's say I want to understand the Chinese, so now I can understand the Chinese grammar or something, then I can learn the Chinese. But a kid cannot understand the language in the same way. Sorry, a kid cannot understand the grammar, and the by birth is he or she is able to understand the language. The same way the language got evolved not using any rule or something. So it there are a lot of ambiguity, a lot of kind of you will see a lot of conflicting statements and a lot of ambiguity in learning the languages. So that's why NLP is very challenging task in case of AI as compared to computer vision or any other problems. So we have a lot of libraries. These are the few libraries which are highly used in case of NLP. We have NLTK, Natural Language Toolkit. We have Python NLP libraries. We have Spacy. We have TextBlob. We have Genus. So few are advanced libraries, few are the conventional libraries. So each and every libraries are giving some unique features that you can do with NLP, and few applications or few tasks can be done by specific libraries that cannot be done by the other libraries. So each and every one has the pros and the cons. Sorry. So natural languages toolkit is a convention NLP libraries, and it is used for tokenization, lemmatization, stemming, parsing, views. A very, you can say, very basic task of NLP can be done using NLTK. So it is a very basic libraries, and the very all the basic tasks of the NLP can be done using the NLTK. In the same way, TextBlob is a little you can say the enriched version of the NLTK, but still behind the scene it is using the NLTK. So it is giving you the better kind of algorithm or better text processing in terms of as compared to an LTK, but behind the scenes it is using an LTK. So more or less they both are the same. So, but TextBlob I think easier to use, I think. So you can use the TextBlob, but most of the people in industry for the basic things they use an LTK. Then you have a Stanford Core NLP. So it is giving you the production ready natural analysis tool. So the problem with NLTK is that you can do a lot of things, but you cannot have the application that can be readily deployed to the production. So you need to have that deployment. NLTK does not have the deployment tools. So in case of Stanford Core NLP, it also gives all the facilities that is given by the NLTK, but it is giving the production ready natural. You can production ready applications can be directly done by the Stanford Core NLP, and you can just it is easier to use it. It is written in Java. Okay, so you can find a lot of people in the industry, they are using the Stanford Core NLP, but it is very specific to the industries, which application they are, which actually library they are using. Spacy is again very much being used in the industry. So it is more or less giving the same features as of an LTK, but Spacy is little faster than an LTK. LTK algorithms are not so robust algorithms, so Spacy's algorithms are little faster than an LTK, but more or less they are giving the same functionalities. Scikit-learn already we have used. So Scikit-learn also gives you a lot of things to do on NLP, and you can combine the Scikit-learn algorithm along with these all the applications to make the final applications. Let's say you are for the feature engineering, you can use the TextBlob, Stanford Core NLP, and the NLTK toolkit. They can be used for the feature engineering part. And let's say for the prediction modeling, then you can use the scikit-learn models. Let's say you can use a logistic regression for the classification, or let's say random forest. So scikit-learn gives you the prediction modeling, and the feature engineering parts can be done with all these libraries. Then you have the Genus, that is the advanced analytical library, and all these library actually give you the very basic feature engineering task. So let's say if you want to make the advanced feature engineering with the text, then you can go for the generation, because it gives you the better feature engineering algorithms. Like it give you the let's say it is given the tokenization and the limitation techniques. This is very basic feature engineering techniques. Let's say you want to make more robust features. In that case, natural language processing don't have that kind of advanced algorithm that can make better features for you from the text. So that is that we can say word embedding techniques. So word embedding techniques are there in the Jennings, but it is not in NLTK or SPACY. So you have to go for the Jennings for the advanced algorithms, advanced word embedding techniques. These are the pros and cons that we have already discussed. So this is the traditional approach for NLP. First part is your processing of the data. First, let's say you have the complete sentence. Let's say I have a complete sentence and I need to understand the sentiment from this feedback. Let's say, and the feedback is the restaurant, that food is not good. Okay, so this is a complete feedback is given to me. So in that case, I need to first, this is textual data, and my machine learning algorithm, let's say I want to make a machine learning model which will actually try to learn the sentiment from this feedback, whether it's a positive feedback or negative feedback, So in that case, I need to create first a lot of data pre-processing. First, I need to make the features out of it. So in natural language processing, each and every word generally becomes a feature. So in the very basic feature engineering part, I just break it down to the words. So that is called the tokenization. So I am just making the features of the tokens out of the sentence. So I just break the sentence to the different word. This is first feature, this is second feature, this is third feature, or let's say this is fourth feature. As of now, I will say it is a token. So I'm just breaking your token. So it is called tokenizing. Then we have the stop words. There are a lot of words actually which are being used here in the sentence, but actually they are not helpful for the sentiment analysis. That's the is word. Is word is not important for me because this is very generalized word, and for sentiment analysis, there is no purpose of this is word because this is not useful for me. So I can remove it. The same way is stemming. Let's say food is not good. Let's say it was given. Let's say food is not you can say delicious kind of thing. So stemming or limitation, actually they will try to convert your each and every word to the basic words, because there are a lot of words, let's say in the first form, second form, or third form, or let's say a word, let's say good, fantastic, or let's kind of these things are there. So we are well trying to reach the root word of any words. Let's say good ka aapka ho gaya, good ho gaya, better ho gaya, best ho gaya, what kind of thing. So in that case, the stemming and limitation is we are going to the root word of that given word. Then we have the pure part of speech tagging. So this is kind of, we will see in the details what is this pre-processing. So we are actually doing the basic data pre-processing so that we have the better features. We have that kind of information with us that actually going to help us in making the final application, whether it is sentiment analysis or any other application. Okay. Then we have the feature engineering. Now I have done all the pre-processing. I have all the token word. So then I will try how I can make the better features, because food is not good. There are 4 different words, but each and every word is unique in itself. Let's say they are not having any contextual information. So because each and every word, if it is unique in itself and they are not interacting with each other, then this single word may be losing the contextual information. Because in, let's say in this example, that she is looking for a match, okay, or she went for the match. In that case, contextual information is very important, because the match word is, if I am making match word as a token, or you can say features, in that case this match is actually not giving me any contextual information. So I need to have, it is very important कि किस context में match word मैं use कर रहा हूँ. In that case, I will be able to understand the meaning of the match word. So that is called your feature engineering. So I have to learn the better feature engineering in terms of word or the combination of words. So how I can make the better features that I can use finally in the NLP algorithms. Okay, so that is your pre-processing, then your feature engineering, then I will have the training of the model. Let's say the sentiment analysis, then I have the, I have to train the model for the sentiment analysis. Okay, that will understand the meaning of this word. Okay, and give me the final output as the sentiment, positive or negative. Then I have the prediction from this model. So these are the basic traditional approach for the NLP, and this is the more or less the approach for most of the applications. Specifically, if it is not the chatbot or other things, but majorly this is the approach in the NLP we are using. So this is NLTK library. You can install it, pip install NLTK. Then you can import NLTK in your program. So when you will do import NLTK, it will open up this thing for you. Okay, so there are a lot of pre-installed packages are there, pre-installed Corpora. Okay, Corpora is a lot of sentences, a lot of, you know, kind of literature is giving to you in the Corpora. So you can do a lot of exercises on that. Let's say there is a lot of novels are there, a lot of, you know, different kind of texts are there, different bigger texts are there. Okay, so you can take the data from the Corpora and you can do, let's say, for the sentiment analysis for any other application, you just take direct data from this Corpora. So it is already there. Then we have different models, we have packages. Okay, you want to, because you have the different algorithm for the stemming, for the modeling, or because we have different tasks, tokenization, stop word stemming. So a lot of algorithms are there. You can, all the packages, they are on these packages. You can, which package you need, you just install that particular package. If you want the complete NLTK, so it will install each and everything for you. If you want to install the selective package or selective Corpora or selective models, then you can select 111 and it will going to install that thing for you. Okay, so this is first thing, tokenization. That is part of the word pre-processing. This is a word, and after tokenization it is giving you each and every word become a token. So breaking the sentence in the word. Okay, so that is tokenization. So tokenization is nothing but making the tokens out of a sentence. So in that case, each and every word becomes a token for you. Okay, so here we have we have sentence tokenization, we have word tokenization. Let's say I have a big literature. So first I will break the complete literature into the sentences, then I will break each and every sentence into the word. Okay, so I have the sentence tokenizer, I have the word tokenizer. For NLTK tokenizer, I'm just importing two tokenizer. This is, let's say, a text. Okay, so this is actually first sentence, but it's a complete literature, so I don't understand. Let's say it is having 10 sentences. So first I'm just going to use the sent tokenize. So it is going to make me the, give me the sentence tokenizer. So this is first sentence, okay, comma, this is giving me the second sentence, comma, it is giving me the third sentence and the fourth sentence. So sentence tokenizer is giving me the sentence from the given text. Then I have the word tokenize. Okay, let's say example text, this one. I'm doing the word tokenize. So it is giving me the all the word tokenizers. Hello, Mr. Smith, how are you? This. So each and everything becomes a token. Even here you can see this is again a token. It is again a token, and there's all the things are here becomes a token. Okay, so but these are not important for me, so I can remove these words, these specific characters. Okay, because I need only the words. So this is called the stop words or other words that I can remove these words. But the word tokenizer is actually splitting your sentence where if they are different combination of alphabets or the special character, it is becoming, they all are becoming the tokens. There you can say this is a comma, it becomes a token here. Stop words, Stop words are words. These are all stop words, which are actually generally considered not to be very important in terms of NLP or natural language understanding. With, they, on, and, be, me, where, her. So this is stop words, dot words, dot English. So we have different stop words for different languages. So these are the stop words which are in the NLTK identified as the stop words. So these are the stop words in English language in NLTK. So you can just print them. NLTK corpus import stop words dot English. You can just set. So these are the stop words, and you can remove them as well because they are not going to be the important information. So this is the example. This is the word stop words. This all the stop words are coming here in this list. Okay. Then you can just filter your sentence W for W in word tokens if it is not in the stop words. So it is going to give you all the tokens which are actually not in the stop words. So it is filter all the stop words for you. So here you can see all the stop words are gone. So this is the final words tokens for you where the stop words are not there. Let's say what the stop words there. It was the was there. The there, the now the is gone, and is gone, are is gone. So it would not be there because these are the stop words. Stemming is the normalized word to the base form of the root form. Okay, so it is called the linguistic normalization because good or better or something is kind of thing. It is going to take them to the base word. So let's say Python, Pythoner, Pythoning, Python, Pythonly. So it will try to take them to the root word. Let's say I have the Porter stemmer. There are a lot of stemmer. The Porter stemmer is generalized, majorly used. I think 3 or 4 stemmers are there. I'm using the Porter stemmer. So here you can see for doubling examples, so print PS stem W. Sorry. Okay. So PS is my Porter stemmer. Now I am using the stemmer function on the W. So it is going to, here you can say Python, Pythoner. This is gone. ING is gone. ED is gone because the second word, or it is a kind of, so ly is gone. So now finally it is having the Python only. So it is going to take the word to the basic word, or you can say the originated word, origin of the word. Then we have the limitation. So limitation is more or less same as the stemmer, but it is more powerful techniques as compared to the stemmer. So you are going to use, most of the times you are going to use the limitation, because limitation itself doing the work of the stemmer as well, but it is, you can see the better stemmer. Okay, let's say if here I'm giving gone, going and everything, so stemmer is not able to convert it to the base origin word go, but limitation is able to do so. So ये आपका बेटर काम करता है एज कम्पेयर टू द स्टेमर. सो लेमेंटेशन आपका लेमा पे कन्वर्ट कर देता है. Each and every word will take it to the lemma word. Lemma is an origin word. Let's say go on, going to go, but that is this stemmer is not able to do so. So let's say for example this is one lematizer. This is a Porter stemmer. I'm using both of them. Let's say word is slime. Okay, in that case agar मैं, if I'm using the Porter stemmer, so in that case it will give me the flea. So it is not a, flea is not a word, but stemmer is not doing the right thing for me. Okay, but if I'm using the lemmatization, then flying word actually would be taken back to the lemma. So the fly is the actually the origin word, lemma word for the flying. So I am getting the fly word. So word lemmatizer is better than stemmer. So you always have to use the lemmatizer as compared to the stemmer. Okay. Then we have part of the speech. You convert each and every part of your word to a different part of a speech, whether it is a noun, pronoun, adjective, verb, or adverb. So these all the algorithms are already into the NLTK, and whenever you run POS, then it will identify the part of speech in your sentence. So these are the tag: modal, noun, MNS. These are all tags. It will try to identify different part of the speech in your sentence and identify them and tag them. Let's say this is an example. The dog killed the bat. So after the POS, it will finally it is DT. The dog is a noun. Then kill means a verb. Then the is DT. I don't know what is DT. DT is determiner. And N is a noun again. So the waiter cleared the plates, and again they are determiner, preparator, verb, and noun. So it will identify the different part of speech in your sentence. That actually going to help you in the NLP task. Your task will become easy. So let's say this is the given word to me. I am just tokenizing it, and after that I am using NLPK dot POS tag. Okay, on this token, so it will identify Albert as an NP, Einstein as an NP, any noun, was a verbal, born was a verb, in whatever, Germany was a noun, in, and this is whatever. ये आप यहाँ से आपको डिटेल मिल जाएगी उसने क्या आइडेंटिफाई किया आपको. CD was a cardial number, whatever. A lot of species are there. Okay. Then you have the syntax tree. Syntax is more or less the same thing. It will make the syntax tree for you, syntactic tree. आपका जो सिंटेक्स आपका जो ट्री स्ट्रक्चर है आपका पूरा कंप्लीट सिंटेक्स ट्री आपको बना के देता है गिवन सेंटेंस के लिए. द कैट सैट ऑन द मैट, फर्स्ट इट इज गिविंग द पार्ट ऑफ स्पीच फॉर यू. Then these both are the noun phrase, these are preposition phrase, this is the noun phrase, again both representing the noun phrase, and complete, this is a complete sentence, and this is sentence for phrase. So it is a kind of syntax tree for you. So it might be useful then when you are trying to understand the kind of syntax in the different languages, let's say on the German language. So then it may be useful for you. Then we have the chunking. Chunking is actually the kind of this thing in syntax tree. Let's say I am just chunking these two words, article and noun, then it is becoming noun phrase. So it is called the chunking, when actually I'm combining more than one words to make a bigger chunk, and it is representing a better sense to me. Let's in that case we called the Pink Panther. So this is a preposition, this is a verb, this is GT, this is JJ, and now this actually this is complete as an NP, this completely presented as an NP. यानी कि this is NP is can be NP is noun, right? What is NP? Proper noun singular. So this is noun preposition. This become noun phrase. So this is a noun phrase. The Pink Panther. It completed giving me the combined meaning of them. This is a noun phrase, this is a noun phrase, and this is a verb. So chunking, actually I'm combining more than one words to make a bigger picture, giving me a bigger picture to me, that is giving me the more or less clear picture. So that is called chunking. So chunking, we can use the Punket Sankit. हमने यहाँ पे टोकनाइज कर लिया है, उस पर टोकनाइज कर लिया, उसके बाद तो आपको चंकिंग करने के लिए पहले आपको पीओ से स्टैक करना पड़ेगा. पहले वर्ड को टोकनाइज करोगे, फिर पार्ट ऑफ स्पीच निकालोगे, एंड आफ्टर दैट यू कैन डू द चंकिंग पार्ट. सो यहाँ पे चंकिंग करने के लिए आई हैव गिवन द दिस फार्मूला, एंड दिस फार्मूला इज समथिंग कि आपका जो आपकी चंकिंग करेगा वो किस तरीके से करेगा. लेट्स से दिस इज फर्स्ट RB डॉट 0 और मोर एनी टेंस ऑफ एडवर्ब फॉलोड बाय एनीथिंग. सो उसको ये RB में कन्वर्ट कर देगा. इफ 0 और मोर एनी टेंस ऑफ वर्ब फॉलोड बाय एनीथिंग, तो उसको VB में कन्वर्ट कर देगा, यानी टू बी कंसीडर्ड एज अ VB. 0 एनी सिंगुलर नाउन, इट विल कंसीडर एज NN में कन्वर्ट करेगा. उसका वन और मोर प्रॉपर नाउन्स, उसका NP में कन्वर्ट कर देगा. अगर इफ यू आर वेरी गुड एट इट, क्या आप फार्मूला खुद से बना सकते हो, देन यू कैन गिव द फार्मूला. अदरवाइज यू कैन यूज द डायरेक्ट चंकिंग. यहाँ पे जैसे रेजेस पार्सर यूज किया हुआ है, आपका सीधे भी आपका डायरेक्ट भी आता है आपका. यू कैन यूज द डायरेक्ट chunking algorithm or direct chunking algorithm आप use कर लो, then in that case you need not to give this formula. Okay, so it will just convert your all this thing to the sorry, chunking. You will get the chunking. Okay, so this is for your chunking. So all of these things are actually will be getting used in the analytical. Let's say I'm doing the sentiment analysis, so all your chunking part of a speech will be taken care of behind the scenes to do the sentiment classification for you. So this is a kind of the things which is actually done grammatically, because we grammatically and try to understand any language grammatically. So that's why here you can see that, because all other things we are doing, actually doing the grammatically. First we are doing the lemmatization, that is again grammatically, because I am taking back each and every word to the origin word. Then I'm finding the part of speech. Okay, so there may be a lot of things I may be missing, because we have already discussed, because when the language was evolved, it was not following any grammar comes later and language comes first. So that's why this finding the part of speech and finding the chunking, the syntax and everything, this is actually based on the grammatical understanding of us of any language. So it may or may be missing a lot of information from the language, because there could be a lot of contextual information, a lot of ambiguities there, so that we cannot find out you just using the grammar itself. So that's why NLP library is considered as a very basic library. Okay, because it is not able to find the hidden patterns or the hidden meaning or hidden syntactual understanding from the data, but still it is very important, because this is the very first NLP library that came to the picture, and it gave a not very wonderful but a very, you can say, promising result, early promising result in the NLP field. So we have one more application, name entity recognition. If I'm giving any sentence, so it will be able to find out if there is any name is there. Okay, let's say the name of the person or the name of the organization of the, or the name of the any location or name of the movie. So it will try to find out the name, if any name entity is there in the sentence. So that is called the name entity recognition. Let's say the sentence given to us. Google, it will understand is the organization. Sundar Pichai, it will understand is the person. Minnesota, it will understand is the location. Rose Center event, it will understand is the local organization. So this is an example of name entity recognition in a sentence. Okay, and it is useful in case of sorry, it is very useful in a kind of text classification. Let's say, for example, I am working on the Google and I have a news classification. Let's say a lot of things are coming up and I want to tag any news on the basis of let's say any person name. So that's, I can tag this info as in the under the Sachin Tendulkar. Let's say an article is there on the Sachin Tendulkar, so I can identify that Sachin Tendulkar is a name or a person and I can attach with it. Let's say any location is coming, let's say Singapore. So I can just tag the Singapore location for this article, so that anyone is Googling Singapore on the word, so it would be able to access that particular location. Let's say I want to go and let's say Lahore Spiti. So let's say any specific article is coming, or any specific, COVID-19 announcement is coming for the Lahore Spiti, when it is going to open and when all the hotels are going to open. So to find out a location in this particular information or the document, and it will tag it. So this is important when we are tagging or we are classifying a different text on the basis of location or organization or this is kind of thing. Okay, so it is going to help the search engine to get the information tagged on the basis of the name entity recognition. So when we are using the when we are, let's say I want to make a name entity recognition application, so this is the same thing. First I have to tokenize, I have to do the POS, then I have to do the chunking, any underscore chunk. Okay, so any underscore chunk is actually the giving me the this thing, name entity recognition. So any underscore chunk, if you NLT से आप any underscore chunk आप ये function call करोगे, it is going to give you the name entity recognition. Let's say for this example, जो भी example आपने लिया था, अगर मैं ये sentence उसको example में दूं, okay, और उसको पर मैं इसको run कर दूं any dot chunk को, then it is going to give me this thing. It will be marked as an organization, it will be marked as a person, it will be marked as a location, it will be marked as an organization. Okay. So this is your name entity recognition. Use case क्या है आपके? Content classification for the new channels that we have already seen. Summarizing resumes. Okay, so it will summarize your resumes. Summarize, optimizing search engine algorithms, recommendation systems, or customer support. Okay, let's say a lot of customers are calling, so we just can classify whether for which person this particular call has to be diverted. Let's say if it is coming for the, let's say, billing information, let's say if it is coming for the some incorrect transaction for the account. So it will try to find out the different part of his speech from this text, and it will divert the call or the your query to the concern department, different concern departments in the customer care. Sorry. So here we can see we have seen the very basic data processing. Okay, this one we have seen this part, data processing part from the NLTK. The same, because we have seen the through the NLTK, these all the features are also available in the different this all the things are also available in the species. It is also available in the NLP toolkit as well. It is also available in Gen as well. Okay, so but we are using the NLTK here because this is a very simple one. Okay, and the yet very powerful for this conventional task. WordNet, this thing you will see a lot of times in the NLP. WordNet is a lexical database in English language, and I think it was developed in universities of, I don't know, in any university, I just forgot the name. Okay, so ये आपका जो WordNet जो आपका lexical database है, grammatically ये बिल्कुल ही they will try to understand the each and every word or meaning of any sentence. So this is kind of lexical database for any English language. इसमें आपको different words of meaning identify करने को मिल जाएगा, synonyms क्या है, antonyms क्या है, और a lot of things. It give you a lot of information about the data for each and every word. It is a kind of grammatical database for each and every word for English language, WordNet. Okay, so in NLTK, most of the times we are using this WordNet lexical database. So जो हम आपका स्टेमिंग के लिए या आपका लेमिटेशन के लिए या आपका पार्ट ऑफ स्पीच के लिए जो हम लोग बिहाइंड द सीन जो हम डेटाबेस यूज करते हैं, दैट इज एक्चुअली वर्डनेट. So this is a lexical database, and it is foundation is the grammatical language, grammar of the English language. Okay, now we have the bag of the words scheme. So bag of the word scheme, this is again a very generalized kind of thing that you will heard in the NLP a lot of times. So bag of words, this is kind of this thing. I'm just making a bag of all the words. Let's say, for an example, this is a kind of extracting essential feature from the raw text so that we can use it for matching learning models. It is called the bag of words because we discard the order of occurrence of words. Let's take an example. ये क्या करता है कि let's say मेरे पास कोई word, I have a word, let's say the food is good. So bag of words क्या करता है कि actually in case of bag of words, this is मेरा first, this is my first feedback first. Let's say feedback 2 is food is bad. This is my second feedback. So bag of word क्या करता है in case of bag of word, it makes two bags. This is my bag 1 and this is my bag 2. Okay, and the basis of the bags, it is try to make the features out of the sentences. So how does it work? Let's say this is my first, it will try to make the complete vocabulary. So how many words are actually being used? 1, 2 and 3 and 4. 4 words are actually being used, 4 different words. So first it will make the complete vocabulary. My complete vocabulary is of the 4 words. Okay, then it will see कि out of these 4 words, first वाले bag में मेरे कौन कौन से, how many words are actually coming. Here you can see out of 4 words, 3 words are coming. So the bag of words actually give me the occurrence of each and every word in the first bag. तो first bag में अगर FB1 के लिए अगर मैं features create करूँगा, so it is going to give me, let's say this is, I have 4 positions. The first position for food, second is for is, third is for good, and this is for bad. So the word representation, okay, or the bag of words representation for the first feedback would be food is there, that is 1, is is there 1, good is 1, and bad is 0. So this is bag of words feature representation for the first feedback. And the what is the for second? The second one it is 4 is there, 1 is there, 1, okay, good is not there, 0, and bad is that is 1. So actually it counts all the occurrences of the given words in this particular sentence. Let's say for this example, these are 3 sentences. Okay, so now first I want to use the count vectorizer, that is actually my bag of words, and then I'm using the fit transform this sentence. So first it will create the vocabulary. So what is the vocabulary? Zim and Pam traveled by to, this is my complete vocabulary. And this is my complete vocabulary. This is the unique words. Jim is coming, Jim 7 and 0, Pam 9, traveled 0, 2, 10, 1. This is the because 0th position is and, because आपकी जो vocabulary create हुई है आप किस तरह से होगी, because vocabulary is your in the ascending order. So and is your first word, and this is at 0th position. Then second position is by, this is first position, and the last one is your which one? 13, traveling is your 13. So this is the complete vocabulary. Okay, now I want to create the for each and every sentence I will create the bag of the words. Okay, the first sentence the bag of words would be all the complete one. 14 locations are there, Jim is there, and what is the Jim? Jim is at position 7. So position 7 would be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. This is the Jim representing Jim. In the second case, and is position 0, so 0 is 1. Then Pam is position, what is the position of Pam? Pam is position 9th, position 9 is 1. Again, the traveling is not there, so traveling is 0, travel is not there, it is 0. So this is your bag of words. So it will create the complete vocabulary, and out of that, the complete vocabulary, which words are present, there are marked 1, otherwise all the words which are missing, that will mark 0. So this is the bag of word representation of all the features. So this, for this first sentence or the first feedback, this is my features when I'm using the bag of the words. Here it is just checking whether this word is present or this word is not present in the feedback. Okay, this is the features for the first feedback, this is the feature for second feedback, this is the features for the third feedback, when each and every word is actually becoming a feature for me. And what is the feature? And the feature is represented in terms whether this word is represented, or sorry, is present or is available in this feedback or not. If it is present, then it is 1. If it is not present, it is 0. Okay, so where it is used? Natural language processing, information classification, text classification, max classification. So all of the times you can use it. Limitations kya hai? Limitation is that because I am just working whether any word is present or any word is not present. So actually it is not looking for any contextual information. Let's say bus, let's say Palm is traveled or something. Let's say if any contextual information is there, so it would be missed, because each and every word is become a feature, and they are not communicating anything, any contextual information with another word. They are all together different entities. So contextual information is not captured when I am making the features using the background words. So semantic meaning is missing. First thing, vector size again on the very higher side, because let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, only 7 words are there, but actually my vocabulary is all 13 words. So in that case, let's say I have different feedbacks. Okay, let's say I have total 1000 feedbacks is there for me, and let's say and more or less the average length of each and every feedback is, let's say 25 words. इतना ही बड़ा कोई लिखता नहीं, let's say 15 words का feedback आपके पास है, और total different 1000 feedbacks आपके पास है, and they are using the different words, and let's say different words they are being used, and let's say they are using let's say 800 different words, not 800, 500 different words they are used. So in that case, each and every feedback is just only 15 words, length is 15 words, but my vocabulary will become 500 words. So each and every feedback is represented by 500 length, when most of the data is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So it becomes the sparse data for me, because I have the data where most of the information is missing and the relevant information is very less. So I have my vector size would become very big, very large for the large documents, and it will take a lot of computation time. And when we have the greater vector size, then again it will going to give me the, I have to have the better pre-processing schemes. Okay, so bag of words is very premature and very, you can say, very early technique of the making the features out of the words. So this is very premature techniques, and it is not widely used in the advanced NLP applications. So but for the basic applications on NLP, let's say document classification, and let's say mail or ham or spam classifications, news classifications, that kind of very basic task, you can use bag of the words. Otherwise you cannot use it, because it is not going to give you the desired result. Same, just the advancement of bag of the words is your TF-IDF. That is your term frequency, that is your inverse document frequency. Okay, TF is the number of times the terms appear in the doc, and the number of, you can understand it this, just take an example. Let's say I have 10 different documents, and I want to make an application so that I can classify the different document, let's say sports document, political documents, and let's say music documents, or let's say some different documents. So let's say if any word is coming in all the documents, so it is important or it is not important. Let's say the kind of word is coming, this is important word is coming, let's say, and let's say it is coming in all the documents. So this word is important for me, the text class document classification, or not? This word is important for me or not, if it is appearing in all the documents?
Important, sir.
It is not important for me, because it is appearing in all the documents. So I cannot make any sense that, because important word is actually specific to the political documents, or it is specific to the music document, or it is specific to trading document, because it is not giving me that kind of information, so that on the basis of that I can basically classify them. So it is not important for me. So what is more important? A word that is basically really used in any document, let's say parliament. So parliament is very specific to the political documents. Let's say MLA, member of legislative assembly, then it is a political document. Okay, so MLA word is actually giving me the more information, so it is more important for me. So if any word is coming in most of the document, then it is less important for me. If any word is coming in the last document, that is becomes a more important for me. So that is your inverse document frequency, कि जो वर्ड जितने कम डॉक्यूमेंट में आएगा वो मेरे लिए उतना इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाएगा. That is your IDF. Okay, and the first one is your term frequency. Sorry sir, कुछ नहीं. Okay, the first one is your term frequency. If any word is coming in any any documents multiple times, then it becomes important for me. Let's say any words, let's say it is a traveling document, and let's say a lot of word is coming, let's say travel, or let's say hiring, or let's say sightseeing, site, then this becomes an important word for me, because it is coming a lot of times in this document. That means this is important for this particular document. So this is called a term frequency. So let's say if I want to make now what happens at TF-IDF? So TF-IDF works in this particular manner. When in bag of words, I am just taking whether this word is present or not present. So in TF-IDF, I will look for the two things. What is the term frequency of this document, this word, and what is the IDF, inverse document frequency for this particular word. Let's say for this example, Zim. Zim is coming only in the first word. So what is term frequency? Is 1. And what is IDF? How many times it is coming in the other documents? No, 0. So this is so you can apply this formula, log of NDF. Okay, so ये इस फॉर्मूले के हिसाब से क्या होगा, अगर कोई भी वर्ड्स आपके ज्यादा डॉक्यूमेंट्स में आ रहा है तो ये वाला पोर्शन आपका कम हो जाएगा, इट विल कम. अगर वो कम डॉक्यूमेंट्स में आ रहा है, इट विल गो ऑन द हायर साइड, तो आपका आइडिया उस हिसाब से आपका इंक्रीज और डिक्रीज हो जाएगा. और टर्म फ्रीक्वेंसी आपका एक उसमें कितनी बार आ रहा है. सो इस केस में अगर आप देखोगे तो आपका जिम का स्कोर आपका हायर साइड पे होगा, क्योंकि आपका सिर्फ एक डॉक्यूमेंट में आ रहा है. ओके, और बाकी डॉक्यूमेंट में नहीं है. ओके, एंड जस्ट यू कैन से वर्ल्ड ट्रेवल्ड। अब ये ट्रेवल वर्ल्ड जो है आपका, ये भी मोर और लेस सेम है, लेकिन व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट थिंग, और आप क्या देख सकते हैं यहाँ पे, ट्रेन 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 वॉस, और यहाँ पे कुछ है नहीं ज्यादा। फ्लाइट वर्ड है, जैसे दिस इज फ्लाइट वर्ड। फ्लाइट वर्ड आपका 2 बार आया तो टर्म फ्रीक्वेंसीज की 2 हो गई, और आईडीएफ आपका लॉग, बाकी सब में आपका आ ही नहीं रहा है, log 1/0 log 1 सो तो उस हिसाब से आपका ईच एंड एवरी वर्ड के जो फीचर्स बनते हैं वो आपका TF-IDF फाउंडर के हिसाब से बनेंगे, कौन सा वर्ड आपका कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है, कि वो एक डॉक्यूमेंट में कितनी बार आ रहा है और कितने डॉक्यूमेंट्स में आ रहा है। सो TF-IDF गिव मी द बेटर फीचर एज कंपेयर टू द बैग ऑफ द वर्ड्स टेक्निक्स। ओके, सो अगर आपको टेक्स्ट क्लासिफिकेशन भी करना है, मेल और स्पैम क्लासिफिकेशन, अगर कोई भी आपको क्लासिफिकेशन करना है, सो यू बेटर यू ऑलवेज गो फॉर द TF-IDF as compared to the bag of words, because bag of words is very premature way to make the features. So better version is TF-IDF, when actually you are, it is also having the same problem. TF-IDF is also having the semantic meaning problem limitation. It is also having the same limitation. It is also having the same limitation, but still it is better than the bag of the words. Okay, so whenever you are using, so go for the TF-IDF, and TF-IDF is going to give you a lot of better approach as compared to the bag of the words. Apart from that, we so just you can take the example from here. This is the first document, this is the second document. Yeah, this document word is coming in both the documents. Okay, so iska term frequency is 1. So I'm going to apply the formula, so it is going to give me the what is document. So first word के लिए इसके जो आपका आ गया, that is 0 1, and the for second one document is coming 2 times, so it is frequency is 2. Okay, and again any other document is this and this. Where is this? This is fifth position, 1 2 3 4 5. What is second position? Second is is coming actually 2 times, 1 time here and 1 time here, so it is the TF-IDF frequency is this one. So it is giving you the better information about your words. Okay, how, so this is better approach than that bag of the words. So जब भी आपको टेक्स्ट क्लासिफिकेशन करना है या आपको स्पैम क्लासिफिकेशन करना है, जो भी आपको डॉक्यूमेंट क्लासिफिकेशन की प्रॉब्लम है, then you are going to use the TF-IDF. Then again we have the third version of this, that is called your let's say I have a problem. अभी हमने क्या यूज किया, हमने बैग ऑफ वर्ड्स देखा, और सेकंड हमने TF-IDF देखा. Okay, now let's say I have one more problem. Let's say I want to do the text document classification. Okay, and let's say I have 2 documents. One is a small article about Sachin Tendulkar, and I have second, I have the biography of Sachin Tendulkar. This is having, let's say, only having 1000 words. It is, let's say, having 100k words total. Okay. Let's say again I have another document, that is, let's say, a political document. Okay, it is, let's say, having again 600 words kind of thing. Okay, or you can say more, let's say 2000, more or less 2000 words kind of thing. You can say the size, okay, let's up again you have the political document. Okay, in case of political document, let's say it is having 200 words. Okay, let's say it is just briefing of the today's session in the parliament. Okay, this is a political document, this is a sports document, this is again a sports document. Okay, in that case, and again also let's say I am having one more document of the political document, and let's say this is of the second day briefing of the parliament, and let's say this is again, let's say 250 words. Okay, now in that's what is happening, I have this text of the text documents or the different sizes. In that case, let's say I'm just focusing on the word, let's say Sachin Tendulkar, and Sachin Tendulkar is a sports person as well as a member of parliament, okay, from the Rajya Sabha, okay, upper house. Now let's say I have this document of the first day briefing. It has a 200 words. Let's say Sachin Tendulkar has come. Let's say Sachin Tendulkar has asked any questions, and let's say Sachin Tendulkar word has coming 5 times here. That's in the second day briefing. In the second day briefing, okay, Sachin Tendulkar has not asked any question, but let's say someone has referenced him. Let's say Sachin Tendulkar has come, let's say 2 times here. This is again a sports document on the Sachin Tendulkar, or just an article. Let's say Sachin Tendulkar word has come here, let's say 100 times. Let's say in this autobiography, Sachin Tendulkar has come, let's say for, let's say in 10K, let's say 500 times, for example. Let's say now I'm going to doing the text classification, whether this document is a sports document or a political document. Now it will go and check whether how many times the Sachin Tendulkar words has come up here. In that case, because this size on the lower side, और ये आपका 5 times यहाँ पर आया है. So and again this is a political document, but Sachin Tendulkar is coming only 2 times. So in that case, on the basis of what Sachin Tendulkar, it will try to relate this document as this document, because this is Sachin Tendulkar. It is 5 times is 2, 500 times, 5 times, and let's say 100 times. It is 5 times and 2 times, because size is on the lower side. So words actually lose its significance on the number of counting, because ये document आपका बड़ा है, ये document आपका छोटा है. So Sachin Tendulkar is coming as 500 times. Sachin Tendulkar is coming as 5 times. This is again a political document, but actually Sachin Tendulkar is only coming 2 times. And why it is coming 2 times? Because this document is a little document, and this is a bigger document. That's why it is coming 5 times, or let's say 7 times, or let's say 50 times. So when I have different size of documents and I want to classify them, then in that case, TF-IDF scheme or bag of what scheme is not good for me, because I am just focusing my entire attention to the count of the words. In that case, count of the words is a misleading for me. So in that case, I cannot just go for the count of the numbers. So then I have the better scheme, that is called the cosine distance, cosine similarity. So in that case, here I was just counting the number of words in a document. If the size of documents are different, then I will go for the different scheme for each and every word, that is called the cosine similarity. Then I will go for the cosine similarity of the two different documents, and I will not see ki what are the number of words coming in a specific document. I will see what is the what kind of document it is. So I will just see the cosine similarity between two documents. This is first document, let's say this is second document. So I will go for the, let's say this is the number of, let's say number of words in the is coming this particular documents. This number 2 times. Let's say for this document it is coming, let's say 10 times. Okay. So in that case, I will not go for the magnitude of the number of words are coming in document. I will go for the angle between two documents. That is called the cosine similarity. So I will not go for the magnitude of the number of words. I will go for the what is the direction between two documents. This is the document in the first dimension. This is documents in the 2 dimension as well, document 1 and document 2. So I will go for the cosine similarity, angle theta. So I will compare two documents on not on the basis of magnitude, but on the basis of the angle between the two of them. This is the multi-dimensional. So 2 dimension, it may be the multi-dimensional. Okay, let's say I have 500 features. 500 features is like 500 words. Total 500 words. So I'm representing document 1 in the 500 words, document 2 with the 500 words. So this is a 500 dimensional plotting. Okay, then 500 dimensional plotting. This is D1, document 1. This is document 2. So in that case, my similarity function is cosine similarity. Okay, that we'll see with an example. So sorry. So this is the basic task that you have to do when you are working on any NLP application. You have to do the data pre-processing. You have to make the features out of your text. whether it is a bag of the words or the TF-IDF scheme, or this is cosine similarity, or let's say any other feature making scheme that we'll see advanced schemes. So apart from that, you may have the different additional steps on the basis of your use case. Let's say if you are, let's say you are doing the mail classification is STEM or non-STEM, so maybe your data is coming from the HTML, so you have to find out remove the HTML tags. If it is coming from the PDF, then you have to find out the PDF tag and remove that. Let's say the data is on the in the mixed language. Let's say someone has used some French language words as well. Let's say Bravo, not Bravo, what you can say, any other word. Okay, so let's say it is combination of the English word and let's say German word, so you have to find out the German words and remove them. Let's say in different format, Unicode document, you have to convert it. Let's say any specific words, phrase or acronyms are coming, you have to identify and remove that, or you have to convert them. Let's say these dates are coming, amounts are coming, any numbers are coming which are actually not giving any enough information as in case of numbers or dates or amounts, so you have to convert them appropriately in the text. Any typing mistakes are there, so you have to identify the typing mistakes and you have to convert them. So these are the extra steps. A lot of steps are there. Okay, they're actually up to the task, which task you are working on. So in that case, your pre-processing steps may vary from use case to use case. Okay, but these are the basic steps that you have to do for each and every task. So this is the what we have discussed today. This is your convention NLP scheme, your convention natural language processing steps that you have to do for the basic application. Let's say sentiment analysis, let's say your text of classification, document classification. So these kind of problems can be easily handled through the convention NLP that we have seen here. But let's say if I am going for the advanced task, let's say language generation or the language understanding, well, a lot of ambiguity is there, because here we can see when we are creating actually the word feature, so it was not actually capturing the enough information of the contextual information. So can I find out some advanced way so that I can capture the contextual information from the data? So actually it is going to help me in the language generation or the language identification. So these are the advanced topic that we are going to cover in the next week. Then we'll cover the advanced topic in NLP, and we are going for the advanced algorithms. We will go for the advanced artificial neural network specifically designed for the text, that is called your RNN, recurrent neural networks. So that we are going to cover in the next class. So now we will cover the basic code of it, what we have seen today. So we will see an example of the mail classification. So this is the mail classification example. Here you are NLTK download. You will run it. It will show you a pop-up, and after the pop-up is shown, then you can download the relevant component or relevant algorithm that is going to use in this code. Okay, then this is a data set given to me. That is all the mails is given to me the CSV. Okay, so if you see it here, this is somewhere here. So this is kind of data to given to you in the CSV format. So this is first column, this is second column. This is the data, just the body of the mail is given to you. Okay, and this is the ham is spam. So spam is a spam and ham is ham. Okay, so this kind of data is given to you. So this is one kind of how this data is given to you. So maybe the data is given to you in a different, let's say you have given the different mails altogether, different files. So in that case, you have to do the different pre-processing. So in that case, the data is given to me in the CSV format, where each and we have two columns. One column is representing the target column, and this is your data column. Now I have to classify all these mails. Okay, I have to make a prediction model which is going to classify each and every mail to the spam or non-spam. Okay. So actually there are three columns. So I have just unnamed, unnamed 2, unnamed 3. 3 more columns are there, which are actually not shown here. So I'm just dropping it. So now I have only 2 columns are there, V1 and V2. This is your target. This is your mail column. This now I'm converting hem to 0, stem to 1. So now this is 0 and 1. So I'm just change the target column to 0 to 1. So this is data described. Total number of 5572 mails are already there. Means is there. This is not important. And describe this, all the things you have already seen. Okay, so this is here we can see this is punctuation. I am just removing the punctuation. You can also, because let's this sentence is there, a simple message. This kind of exclamatory signs are there, dots are there. So this is punctuation things are in any language. So I can remove the punctuations. So this is an example. So you can use the this is string punctuations are given to you in NLTK. So I am just filtering all the punctuation from this message. Okay, and after this is पंक्चुएशन रिमूव करने के बाद ये क्या करता है कि इसको बेसिकली आपका पंक्चुएशन रिमूव कर देगा एंड आफ्टर दैट आई एम जस्ट जॉइनिंग इट. लेकिन ये पंक्चुएशन रिमूव करने के बाद ईच एंड एवरी अल्फाबेट को अलग अलग कर देता है. सो आई एम जस्ट अगेन डूइंग द join. Each and every alphabet is again joining back. So this is join. So here you can see this is a sample message. Now after removing the punctuation, all these punctuation marks are actually removed. Okay. And what is your word lematizer? We have already seen terms. What is to the term? Okay. So this is doing both the things. A sample message is what is there, a sample messages. So when I'm doing both the punctuation remove one and the lematizer, so it is giving me a sample message where message is converted to the message. Okay, and all punctuation is are removed here. Okay. These are the stop words. I can remove the stop words as well. So when I applying the stop words, so A is removed. So A is removed. Now I have only simple and the messages. So this is a complete function which is actually preposing in sentence. First it is a word lematizer, then it is removing the punctuation, then it is with the word tokenization and removing the stop words as well. So this is a complete function doing all the things for me. So when I run this preprocess function on the message, so it is giving the sample message. Okay, what it is doing, it is the word lematizer, first thing, removing punctuation, second thing, removing stop words, third thing, and fourth thing, it is making the word tokenizing. So it is doing all the 4 pre-processing step in a single function. Okay, so that I can do it from here. Now again, I just importing the counter. It is going to count the number of words. How many words? So this is a function. I am just creating the features. Okay, this is tags, this is setting. If the setting is coming as a bag of words, okay, so what is going to do? They're just counting the number of words. Okay, and a word is coming how many times in a single mail. So so this is the example. Let's say first actually what I'm going to do, this is row v1 and row v2 index and row print row 1, and this is just printing. I'm just printing the things here. It is not important. So get features row v1 and row v2. Okay, मैंने row v1 के ऊपर मैंने क्या लगाया, bag of words लगाया है, because this is a row, the second one. Okay, I am applying the row word. Sorry, where it is. I am applying row v के ऊपर हमने क्या लगाया, get features लगाया. तो get features करने के बाद वो क्या करेगा? It is going to give me this thing. पहले प्री प्रोसेस को कॉल करेगा. प्री प्रोसेस जो फंक्शन आपका कॉल होगा वो आपके ये सारे काम आपके लिए करके दे देगा. दिस ऑल द थिंग्स. एंड आफ्टर थिंग इट इज अप्लाइंग द काउंटर. यानी काउंट करने के बाद आपको क्या कर देगा, वो ईच एंड एवरी वर्ड का आपको काउंट दे देगा. यानी कि आपने बैग ऑफ वर्ड आपने अप्लाई कर दिया है. ओके, सो आफ्टर कंबाइनिंग दिस, लेट्स से आई एम वर्किंग, इसने मैंने गेट फीचर्स कॉल किया ऑल फीचर्स के ऊपर, तो इसने कंप्लीट मेल्स के ऊपर मेरा क्या करके दे दिया, उसने पूरी प्री प्रोसेसिंग विद द बैग ऑफ वर्ड्स मुझे बना के दे दी है. लेट्स से ऑल द फीचर्स के फिफ्थ सेंटेंस को मैं देखना चाहता हूं उसने क्या किया. तो इफ यू कैन सी हियर, दिस इज द फिफ्थ सेंटेंस. प्री मैसेज वर्ड वाज देयर, count is 1, hey is 1, darling is 1, 3 1, let's all the words are 1 times coming as here, and this is the mark as a 1. This is a spam mail. Okay, what the extra pre-processing step you can do. Let's say this $15 something is coming. So if you want to change it, you can change it. If you think that is a word that can be useful for the marking spam or non-spam, then use it as it is. Okay. So here, this is the same. ये already हम लोग कर चुके हैं. This is the same thing we have done. Word vectorizer. Sorry. So this is a function to apply punctuation, tokenization, limitation, all the things that already हम ऊपर भी कर चुके हैं, right? So हमने ये पूरा किया, ये पूरा कॉल किया, और ये कॉल होने के बाद कॉर्पस आ गया हमारे पास. This is the same thing. Same thing. This is not it. अगर आप देखोगे तो इसमें आपकी vocabulary क्या create किया? This is a vocabulary has created. This is a vocabulary. Vocabulary आपकी 14 sentence में एग्जाम ये एग्जांपल लिया हुआ हमने. This is the example. Let's say this is the corpus. Okay. और इस corpus के ऊपर I have just round the count vectorizer उसने vectorize किया है, और फिर ट्रांसफॉर्म मैंने किया है. तो फिर ट्रांसफॉर्म क्या करेगा आपका, बेसिकली उसको वेक्टराइज करेगा. सो अगर उसको वोकैबुलरी देखोगे तो 14 सेंटेंस की वोकैबुलरी है आपकी, और उसको अरे में कन्वर्ट करोगे तो यू कैन से दिस इज द वोकैबुलरी एक्स टू अरे, यानी इस पूरे सेंटेंस का आपका ये आपका वेक्टराइजेशन फॉर्म है. दिस इज जस्ट गिवन एन एग्जांपल फॉर दिस थिंग. यही सेम चीज ने यहाँ पर भी की है. ओके. उसने यहाँ पे एक वोकैबुलरी क्रिएट की होगी. यू कैन सी द वोकैबुलरी हियर. उस वोकैबुलरी के हिसाब से उसने ईच एंड एवरी मेल्स को आपको कन्वर्ट कर दिया होगा, उसके वेक्टर क्रिएट कर दिए होंगे. ओके. ओके. ये आपने फिर बैग ऑफ द वर्ड्स अप्लाई किया इस पे ट्रांसफॉर्म करने के बाद, उसने आपको ट्रांसफॉर्म करने का बना के दे दिया. दिस सेम थिंग वी हैव सीन. दिस इज ये जिसने एग्जांपल. ओके. तो ये आपका ट्रांसफॉर्म किया है इसने. ट्रांसफॉर्म करने के बाद आपका ये आ गया. ये आपको बता रहा है कि आपका 1073 आपका जो वर्ड है पहला कौन सा वर्ड था आपका, दिस सेंटेंस. यू डन से अर्ली एवर, आपका कौन सी पोजीशन पे है, 1073 पोजीशन पे आपके डिक्शनरी में. दिस इज 4715 पोजीशन. दिस इज, तो दिस इज काइंड ऑफ थिंग. आप देख सकते हो 4715 पोजीशन पे कौन सा वर्ड है, लाइक. तो लाइक वर्ड कितनी बार है, 475 इज 2, तो 2 बार आया हुआ है. तो आपका ये देखोगे तो यहाँ पे 2 बार आया हुआ होगा. इट इज 2 टाइम्स हियर. हां, इट इज लाइक. It is like 475 is like, or where is like here? You densely document is second and this is third. No. Like तो इसमें है ही नहीं. Already and run early first. ये एक्चुअली उसने ये V2 के लिए हुआ है, डाटा V2 के लिए, इसके लिए नहीं कर रहा है. दिस इज अ कंप्लीट वन हियर, इसके लिए कंप्लीट आपकी. हाँ, ये कंप्लीट आपकी पूरी स्पैम और उसकी वोकैबुलरी के लिए. दैट्स व्हाई इट इज नॉट कमिंग हियर. ओके. यहाँ तक हमने ऊपर जो आप देखोगे ऊपर हमने किया आपका बैग ऑफ वर्ड. उस तरह आप TF-IDF वेक्टराइजर भी यूज कर सकते हो. पहले आप उसको बैग ऑफ वर्ड्स में कन्वर्ट करो, और बैग ऑफ वर्ड्स में कन्वर्ट करने के बाद देन आप उसके बाद TF-IDF ट्रांसफॉर्मर चला दो, तो आपके पास TF-IDF में कन्वर्जन आ जाएगा. अगर आप देखोगे तो पहले आपका आ रहा था इस तरह से वैल्यू आई थी 1000. उसकी काउंटिंग कितनी है वर्ड्स की, अब आप उसका TF-IDF स्कोर आपका आ जाएगा. दिस इज TF-IDF स्कोर. ओके. तो TF-IDF स्कोर में आपको कन्वर्ट करने के लिए पहले फर्स्ट यू हैव टू फाइंड आउट द बैग ऑफ द वर्ड्स स्कीम. पहले आप उसको बैग ऑफ द वर्ड्स में कन्वर्ट करो, और उसके बाद आफ्टर दैट अप्लाई द TF-IDF ट्रांसफॉर्मर. सो 2 स्टेप. फर्स्ट कन्वर्ट टू बैग ऑफ द वर्ड्स एंड कन्वर्ट टू TF-IDF. सो आपने TF-IDF में इसको कन्वर्ट कर लिया. नाउ यू हैव ऑल द डेटा. नाउ यू हैव एक्चुअली क्रिएटेड द फीचर. आपने सारी प्री प्रोसेसिंग यू हैव कंप्लीटेड. नाउ यू हैव मेक द फीचर्स आउट ऑफ द सेंटेंसेस. आपने ईच एंड एवरी वर्ड को आपने TF-IDF फीचर्स में कन्वर्ट कर दिया. ओके. नाउ you can do the, now this is your data given to you. 557 तो आपके पास मेल्स थी, ठीक है, एंड ईच एंड एवरी मेल इज रिप्रेजेंटेड एज 8841. यानी कि आपका जो वोकैबुलरी का साइज है वो आपका 8841 है, और टोटल आपके पास मेल कितनी है 5572. तो दिस इज योर आपका TF-IDF की शेप है आपकी. अब आपके पास फीचर्स बन के तैयार हो गए. देन नाउ यू कैन डू द सेम थिंग. आपके पास मॉडल आपको क्रिएट करना है. आपने 10 और टेस्ट में स्प्लिट कर लिया डेटा को. अब आपने इसको मल्टीनोमियल NB लगा दी. इफ यू रिमेंबर नेव बायस की हमारे पास डिफरेंट वेरिएंट्स थे, एंड मल्टीनोमियल NB वाज स्पेसिफिकली डिजाइन फॉर द टेक्स्ट क्लासिफिकेशन, जहां पे अब काउंट्स ऑफ नंबर ऑफ काउंट्स पे हम लोग काम करते थे. तो मल्टीनोमियल NB स्पेशली डिजाइन फॉर टेक्स्ट क्लासिफिकेशन. सो दैट्स व्हेन वी हैव यूज्ड मल्टीनोमियल NB हियर. हमने उसको मॉडल को ट्रेन कर दिया है. ट्रेन करने के बाद हमने प्रेडिक्ट किया, दिस इज कंफ्यूजन मैट्रिक्स. So here you can see precision score is coming 97. This comes, this it is doing pretty good. Okay, so this is how we are using a Gaussian NB. Gaussian NB आप देखोगे तो Gaussian NB is not giving 996, 118, 0 and 31. तो इस केस में आप देखो रिकॉल आपका कम हो गया. Okay, so you have to find out. तो आपका देखोगे तो आपका multinomial NB is going to give you the better result. So here you can apply the different algorithm. Descent tree apply करके देखा, descent tree is going to give you 7 and 24. Okay, so still your multinomial NB is going to give you the better result as compared to the other one. Okay, so this part is not important because this part you have done a lot of times, multiple times in different algorithms, different use cases. For NLP, this part is important, doing the pre-processing and making the features out of your text data. And after that, the things are easy. Then you're just applying the algorithm on top of it. So this first part is actually coming from the NLTK. This all data pre-processing part is coming from the NLTK. Okay, so now in all the NLP use cases or applications, actually we are taking the hybrid approach. All the data pre-processing schemes or the tasks are will be completed using the Spacy or NLTK or the Genus or any other NLP libraries. But after that, when we are going to create the prediction model, okay, then we are going to use a scikit-learn for the conventional machine learning algorithms, or we can use a deep learning algorithm. Okay, so data pre-processing always done by the NLP libraries, and model creation, either you are going to use the machine learning algorithm through the scikit-learn, or you are going to use the deep learning algorithms through the Keras or to the TensorFlow or any other libraries. Okay, so this is a two-fold scheme for the NLP. इसमें कोई confusion है? Any confusion here, Tapas or Abhinav?
नहीं sir, clear है मेरा.
Okay, so you can do one thing, you just go through this example first, okay, and just try to grab the things. If you find, क्योंकि सारा आपका कोड देखोगे तो बहुत सिंपल कोड है and everything, in fact इस तरह आपको 1 millions of the codes आपको इंटरनेट पे मिल जाएंगे using the more or less same kind of thing. Text classification document, ये आपका मेल का है, इस तरह से आप text classification का कोड लिख सकते हो. So in the subsequent week that is coming, you can just try to write a code for the text classification using the scikit-learn algorithms or using the NLP libraries, NLTK, or using the Spacy, anyone you can use. So I recommend you use the NLTK as of now. Okay. Afterwards, you can use Spacy or anything else. Okay, so I hope that is fine. So this is a very basic NLTK. Okay, so most of the times now NLTK are not being used. Okay, if the application is not the very basic applications. If you are working with the advanced applications, like you can say your even the sentiment analysis, your recommender system, so your chatbots, or let's say language generation, language modeling. So these kind of approach are not working. NLTK is not useful there. Okay, so we will be taking the advanced natural language schemes and advanced algorithms and the deep learning models for the same. Okay, so that is for now. Anything sorry,